President Donald Trump is no stranger to the spotlight. In fact, he was Google's top searched living person in 2016. But even before his fame as the loudmouth presidential candidate, this tangerine billionaire popped up in some pretty random cameos on screen. Here are 10 Donald Trump cameos he may one day regret, if he doesn't already. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see even more videos like this one. WrestleMania. In what was billed as the Battle of the Billionaires, Donald Trump and Vince McMahon faced off by selecting wrestlers to fight for them. Bobby Lashley represented Trump, Umaga represented McMahon, and in as guest referee was Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was a high-stakes match, as the loser would have to have his head shaved by the winner. After Umaga thwarts Steve Austin's plans to help Lashley, McMahon scolds Stone Cold right to his face. Next, we see the current president of the United States tackle McMahon to the ground and repeatedly punch him in the head. Austin and Lashley gain the upper hand, pin Umaga, and Donald Trump becomes the victor. Back in center ring, Trump shaves McMahon completely bald in front of the entire crowd. But just when Trump thinks it's over, Steve Austin pulls out a Stone Cold Stunner on Trump, taking him out and leaving him lifeless on the ground. That's embarrassing, because wrestling is super real and not fake. Days of Our Lives. In this long-time-running soap opera, Donald Trump makes an appearance as himself and is approached by Nicole Walker, who is desperate to get a job. She makes a case for herself by saying she was more than just a trophy wife, and she proceeds to explain her qualifications. She goes on and on about how she outshines the others and served as co-CEO of a major corporation, and then completely destroys her impressive experience by coming on to Donald Trump and insinuating that she will do anything to get the job. Trump says he'll get back to her on it, but when she asks again to be reassured, he says he won't. Which isn't like him at all. It's not like he's a consistent flip-flopper or anything. The Drew Carey Show. Drew Carey and the gang are driving in an ice cream truck on their way to a baseball game in New York when they find themselves stuck in a traffic jam. After getting frustrated, Drew exits the truck, and as luck would have it, he runs into none other than Donald Trump. Trump asks the group for some ice cream, but they reveal that they're carrying beer in the back of the truck. After asking if they're morons, they tell him no, they're from Cleveland. Drew explains the situation they're in, and being the generous man he is, Trump gives them a card that will grant them access to his box suite at the baseball game. They thank him, and as he's leaving, he actually says that he's heading off to go see the Star Wars trilogy. Now that is a man the United States should have as a president. Spin City. What better way to promote your books than by going on an award-winning TV show? In this episode of Spin City, the mayor is having trouble writing a book, so Michael J. Fox's character Mike calls in someone who he thinks can help. Trump enters the room, and Mike explains that Trump has written 2 best-selling books, one of which was just released a few months before the episode aired. After taking the mayor's chair, Trump does what he does best and brags about how great he is. When asked if writing 2 books was tough, Trump flatly says no. When asked if it was hard to get started, Trump says, first day, 9 chapters. Of course, it's just a bit for the show, but the writers did a great job of capturing the essence of Trump. Nightman. Who the hell is Nightman, you ask? I'm Nightman. Published by Malibu Comics and later acquired by Marvel, Nightman is a less cool, watered-down version of Batman. He uses gadgets to fight crime at night, and his only superpower is that he can telepathically hear evil. In the episode Face to Face, the antagonist of the episode, E. Harold Bridges, can manipulate his skin to look like anyone he wants. He pulls out the book The Art of the Deal and uses the cover as a reference to make himself look like, you guessed it, Donald Trump. He then uses his super amazing acting ability to simply walk into a bank and request $10,000. The bank president is stunned by his presence and can't help but give him the money, no questions asked. This sounds like a tough case for Nightman. The Little Rascals. Waldo is the snooty, stuck-up, spoiled little brat in The Little Rascals. You may also know him as the one who looks like Macaulay Culkin. He's the antagonist in the movie, and he enters the go-kart race in an attempt to humiliate Spanky and Alfalfa. This little rascal plays dirty. He has atomic battery power, and he uses spikes to pop his competition's tires. How does such a young kid afford all these gadgets? Just ask his dad. We get a short glimpse of his father when Waldo calls him from his cell phone during the race to brag about how he's going to win. Guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR. The banks are trying to sell their home, and they think they're in luck when a famous billionaire is interested in purchasing the house where his nephew grew up. In walks President Trump and the First Lady. Oh, his First Lady. Or is it his Second Lady? We've lost count. Anyway, the Donald walks in with a suitcase full of money, but it turns out it wasn't the home they were looking for. But before they leave, Ashley Banks doesn't miss the opportunity to tell him to his face that he ruined her life. On their way out the door, his wife leans in and tells him that this house was too much of a fixer-upper anyway. And with that, they leave. Such a nice couple. Ghosts Can't Do It. Ghosts Can't Do It is the proud recipient of a Golden Raspberry Award for the worst movie in 1990. The movie was directed by John Derek, Bo Derek's late husband. He is also the director of such gems as Bolero, which also received a Golden Raspberry for worst film, as well as Tarzan the Ape Man, which is regarded by some as the worst movie ever created. In this film, Trump's acting ability actually almost matches the level of the rest of the cast, so he doesn't stick out too much like a sore thumb. Like all of his cameos, Trump plays himself, and in this film, he negotiates a business deal opposite of Bo Derek. Although although it was Derek who came away with the Razzie for Worst Actress in Tarzan the Ape Man, it was Trump who won the Razzie in this movie for Worst Supporting Actor. Bravo! Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Everyone's favorite abandoned kid is left alone once again, but this time he's in the Big Apple with a credit card burning a hole in his pocket. So he does what any young man would do and checks into one of the most fancy hotels he can find. As it turns out, this particular hotel is owned by Donald Trump. As luck would have it, and unbeknownst to him, Kevin McAllister actually bumps into the Donald himself. Kevin asks for directions to the lobby, and Trump points him in the right direction. There, you see that? Helping out the youth of America since 1992. Access Hollywood. Okay, so this one isn't exactly a cameo, but it's still an appearance on a TV show about his cameo, so it works. Donald Trump is traveling with Billy Bush on the Access Hollywood bus to the set of Days of Our Lives to do an interview about his cameo on the soap opera. Little did they know, the microphones they were wearing were live, capturing everything they said on the way over to the set. Trump was saying what is certainly not your typical locker room talk about coming on to married women and sexually assaulting others, while Billy Bush laughed and encouraged the behavior. When the audio was leaked, Billy Bush was immediately forced to resign.
You're fired.
And a few short months after that, Donald Trump was elected President of the United States. So maybe it wasn't so regrettable after all. Trump has had some doozies in the past, and now that he's president, we fully expect to see even more in the future. Do you know of any cameos we missed? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button if you liked the video, and click subscribe to see more videos from CBR on movies, comic books, TV shows, video games, pop culture, and more.